He's a hustler, unbreakable, a people's person, and a future billionaire. This is the Hustler's Corner with Sibusiso, well known to you and I as DJ Sbu.
Hello everyone, this is DJ Sbu, straight out of Johannesburg in South Africa, and welcome to the Hustler's Corner. Now what is exciting is that today we are right in the heart of Johannesburg. Now there is a buzz and culture in Johannesburg. If you've been to Joburg, you'll know a place called Maboneng Precinct. Maboneng Precinct is an environment of a lot of entrepreneurs. It's a buzzing environment with a lot of young people, young professionals, young entrepreneurs who are in different industries. Digitally, some guys are in clothing, some guys are in fashion, guys are in different things. Whatever industry you can think of, entrepreneurs here are making it happen. They're trading, they're selling their things, selling their products, building brands, and building their businesses. Now, one entrepreneur who has been building his business for quite some time over the past couple of years, he's built himself not only a business, but a brand. He's made himself a brand, a young man who's doing incredibly well. He's one of the movers and shakers when it comes to a new generation of South African young entrepreneurs. All right, before we get the interview started, I'm gonna ask all of you guys to head straight into that sharp sign. On the count of three, we're all clicking it. 3, 2, 1, click, 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 click. Thank you very much. Now, this man has been making waves in the country in entrepreneurship. He went to varsity, and I think that's where his love for entrepreneurship, the bug bit him. And that's where he started. He's going to share with us his story. He comes from my environment, my community of Eguruleni in Donasek Aslami. And he is here. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to welcome on the show Skinny Sbu, who created a brand called Skinny Sbu Socks. Just like you guys would say DJ Sbu, Ubito. But he'll give us his real name, he'll give us his real story, where he comes from, and what really made him the man that he is today.
Sbuda Buda. It's a Sbud. Can I tell you something?
Yeah.
I think Skinny Sbu is officially gonna be my real name. I spoke to my mom. I'm like, you know what, I wanna put it on my ID. It means the world to me, Sibusiso. Like the past 7 years has been so amazing. It's been my early 20s put together with my mid 20s of building this dream called Skinny Sbu Socks. And I just wanna make it permanent, man.
So I had a chat the other time, I think it was about 6 years ago.
Yeah.
With Mr. Billionaire, the great Mr. Robert Gumete,
yeah,
one of our business leaders in South Africa. He said to me, Sibusiso, don't ever make the mistake of falling in love with a brand.
Yeah.
And then I said to him, but why, sir? Because if I'm building something, I'm gonna fall in love with it. He says, because ultimately this is a business.
Yeah.
Yes,
yeah,
you might build it to live it for future generations, but you never know. At some point, you might want to cash out and go start something even bigger.
Mm-hmm. No, listen, there is an exit strategy to Skinny Sbu Socks, or Skinny Sbu, the brand. I want to list the company. I want to sell it to someone who's going to grow it and make it even bigger. But just the name of it, the sound of it really represents a lot to me. And it represents some form of freedom. Because remember, for me personally, Skinny Sbu has always been a form of protest project, I started this whole mayhem that's happening right now in the country of guys realizing that actually, I don't need to endorse anybody's brand. I can build my own, I can put my name on it and put my time, money, and energy and grow it. So I hear you.
No, it's a beautiful thing. We're really proud of you. And I think let's get it started from Mekas, the same time. What is your story? Where were you born? When were you born? Tell us a bit about your story, your upbringing, etc.
The east of Joburg, Ekurhuleni. I was raised by my lovely grandmother, Umimi. I can feel her spirit even right now. Hustler of note. She's always said, you must be able to make something with your hands and sell all the time, So every season, like almost everything. But as a kid, growing up in a shack and doing all those things, I never realized my grand and my mom were giving me basic business skills at its purest form, I learned how to trade when I was 10. I buy some sweet together. I buy some makeup to my teachers. So I grew up in a very fun, loving, vibey environment. In as much as at home, we're living in a shack, The only difference between me and other kids was that we couldn't afford to build a brick home. But in terms of opportunities, I'm the only kid in my own street who would take a taxi in Odedelake and go to Rosebank and go to Sandton. I was exposed to all those things. I was exposed to brands from a very young age. I was exposed to a very lush and plush life from a very young age. And my childhood was very colorful.
And I don't want you to stop. It's one of those interviews where I have to come in all the time.
Okay.
I really want you to just take your time and tell your story.
Okay.
Some of the things that shaped you, some of the experiences that are memorable in your mind. And this is in Tsakane, ne?
Tsakane. I'm a church boy of note, man.
Oh, okay.
I'm a church boy of note. I went to a Roman Catholic church. I was an altar boy. I think that's the highest ranking you can get in your youth, but I quickly got bored. And I went to my uncle's church. My uncle, who's now my business partner, who's an accountant and handling the entire business.
Finances of the business, yeah.
I went to his church called Apostolic Faith Mission, and I worked very hard there. I'd write, I'm a sketch and act in them and grow them. And there was a lot of activity. And what actually brought me to that church was a gentleman called Kena Mahlangu, who was one of the first black guys to go study film at AFTA. So during school holidays, he'd come back and tell us like life on set. We'd know, generation, there's people behind that and stuff. And because I'm one of them, I was the most laziest kid ever, dog. Like I've never kicked a football in my life.
Going calm.
Too much. And I know it.
Yeah.
And I stayed far from it. Like I was such a lazy body, but the one time I remember making a real decision in my head was when I decided it's actually not, I don't know any other thing but telling stories. And I think that's when my journey started. I was about 10 years old. And I said, I'm gonna find platforms for me to continue telling stories. And acting for me was one of the first things that I just started doing. There was a cultural activity happening there, Yama actors. But immediately after that, I had to take it seriously, So I was doing it at church, I was doing it at Kasi, and then I went to an art school, ERSA, and I did speech and drama there, and that's when I got like my professional training. But what's nice about the school is that you also have normal subjects that you have at other schools. So I did accounting, I did business, I did all these other subjects that the kids are doing. So I was well balanced as an artist, but the whole plan was just to grow up and be a broadcaster, be an actor, and be a presenter. And a lot of people who were like my reference there was, I think Bonang was fairly new, but I've been watching Bonang since she was on SAPC2, that kiddies show, I've been following Trevor Noah, I've been following Sibusiso for years, dog. Like, I'm really trying to detach myself from this guy so much because I'm growing up to be like him, in a good way, but I'm taking also some of his traits and I'm trying to say, I've learned so much from him. Tumisho Masha, like that gentleman, like helped me so much, especially in the early years of Skinny Sbu. So I remember like cutting pictures of all those 4 people and I said, I want to build a brand that is fashioned after these 4 people. And when I changed schools and went to the Eastern School of Arts, that is when I met Tepo Chinmaker. Mina and I, we just hit it off instantly because we were outcasts already. We were tall, we were skinny. We're not a guy's guy, Asumchita, Wasikasi, Fandiwan, as fit Ikasi, but we also don't fit in the north. We're too hard for the north, we're too soft for Ikasi. But we hit it off because from the first time we met, the dream since grade 9 was to leave Tsakan and come to Joburg. That was our conversation all the time. Because I say Prakpani, Menang say Ersa, and see each other every weekend at church. But the only thing that filled our conversation was just, dog, immediately after matric, say choose. And that's what eventually happened in 2019, We finished writing our exams around November, stayed a month, Ekasi. 15 January 2010, we just packed our bags. I didn't have anything. Begano matrasi, with our other friend Julius. Umkhulu Tepo was boleki track yakhe, was Kapi Jozi, and we started renting a room in Perea.
I know Perea, like around Buma Ponte City.
Yeah.
Buma the Sands Hotel, Yeovil, Hillbrow. And that's an environment that pretty much teaches you to be street smart.
Of course.
To know how to maneuver with people from different cultures. Because that area is also filled with a lot of our African brothers and sisters. So you get to understand Zimbabweans, Nigerian brothers and sisters, you get to understand Ghanaians, and you get to understand that part of town also to not get robbed.
Yeah, of course.
Because you have
but also to me it's so special, Sbu, because one, have you seen the architecture there, dog? Like people take for granted what Hillbrow and Perea is. Like, it's so beautiful, you understand? But also another thing is the one area in the city that we own as black people, not in terms of real estate, but we own the territory. You know, when you go to Perea Namanje, like there's a sense of family, like koningosi on the street, like ufila to say kasi marechozi, you know. And I really fell in love with it at the time, and it's the center of everything. So at the time, we'd be able to walk to Auckland Park, would walk to any other parts of town, because it was expensive for us. Like 7 rand, dog, like that's a lot of money. But
sorry to come in, but this is when you're a student at Vets
before that.
Okay.
So Mina, we came to Joburg. So the dream, all three of us, Tepo, Julius, and me, was to come to Joburg and go do film at After. Because remember, we were mentored by Kena Mahlang, you know, but we didn't have the cash. Kabum Tepos Megisa for a year, but it couldn't continue, you know. So for 2010, I was doing that. 2010, I took a gap year. And for some reason, you know, I think I recommend a gap year because you get to take a break after 12 years of having a program, really, you know. Because from grade 1 to grade 12, you know what you're gonna do from Monday to Friday. And then probably just like me on Saturday, you was there for a choir practice, and then Sunday at church. But for the first time, I didn't have any program. I had so much freedom for me to really think about exactly what I want to do, you know. But also that's when like a lot of partying started, dog. Like we really had a great time in 2010.
Because that's why I started DJing.
In 2010?
Not in 2010, but in that area when I was staying in Hillbrow. But I've stayed in Hillbrow, I've stayed in Perea at the Sands, I've stayed in Perea at Bostonian, I've stayed in Ponte City.
What? For how many years?
I stayed in that area for many, many years. Angsakeleze UJ, which was Vets Tech at the time. Skimming out just Vets University. We used to be at this DJ group called Deep Nation. So we used to play Deep House on vinyl. It was myself, a guy called Neo Lejombog, and a guy called Khanso from Komabopane, Pitor. So what I'm saying is the partying also for us, using Maxi Taxi, Uber was not around at the time. Started around that area.
You know. So for the whole year of 2010, the first half of the year, like I was a bit confused, you know, because I came for this dream and it's taking forever. People think that, you know, you just come to Joburg and then things just start happening, you know. And then that's when I started doing like promo work, you know. From Ifishi to anything you can imagine, you know. And then I was lucky enough, halfway, I got a job at Samsung. And they were paying good money for someone who's got a matric certificate, you know. And I saved enough money for the next 6 months to take myself to UJ. I'm gonna put it out there. I wanna be the country's president. And hence, I registered at the University of Johannesburg to study politics.
You want to be the president before Tutuzani or after? I'm kidding. Good luck, guys. And big up to Tutuzani, big up to yourself. It's great to hear young people dream that big. It's an awesome thing, and you're going to be, bro.
Of course, definitely, you know. So I registered myself at the University of Johannesburg. It's one thing to want to be at a university, and it's another thing to be in the university, you know. I was doing okay with my studies, but once you're part of it, you're like, man, that hunger came back again, that yearning inside of me. I don't know if it's a calling, I can't put a finger on it, but that thing came back to me of saying, dog, you don't belong here, you know? You don't belong here. And I registered with the University of Johannesburg's drama company. And I was with UJFM at the same time. So I'd wake up in the morning, you push span because begins but a little rent in a scale and stuff. So in Spani, you do classes and come and do radio and do drama company, you know. And it was like that for the whole year. And then towards the end of the year, I just dropped out. And that's when I think my journey really started.
So dropping out is obviously a conflict between you and the parents. But why did you drop out?
Yeah.
What was your next move?
And dog, listen, I'm this guy who's coming along, guys, because remember, I'm taking myself to school now, and at home they're proud of me. It's like I'm pulling so many efforts, and now I'm just gonna drop it like that. And remember that I come from, my sister is an example of an A student. My sister finished in record time, started working and stuff. So I have that pressure now to either match that or up that, you know? And then I come to them, I tell them I'm frustrated, I don't like what I'm doing there. I wanna go do me, you know? And I situation about finding car, but already, they saying that 2 years in Pumile car, but bank divorce in a way, you know? Because girl want to tell him but it's never the scholars, but
yeah.
Then you start So that was the thing for me. I'm like, you know what? I can't be living in here. I think I became a real man at that time. Like I felt myself taking responsibility of my life and my actions, you know? And then I left full time lapho. Ngazakale Jozi, I crashed machitini, yo ngilalile emasofeni sibuda jo. Like umuzi umjita ukuthi akasakufuni la mara. You've got nowhere to go.
Rupees ngara uphethe yothikile.
Belubekezele.
Ngathaba ruphela thina lapha sibhoko ni professional divider, I dining room ne curtains. Indoda nayibhizi ngara uyayizwa.
Yeah. So it was funny, dog. Like it was funny, but it makes you like it's part of that period, you know, because at the end of the day we are not here to sleep. We're here to hustle, you know. A mini pusher, it hustle, and then soon we have to go and hustle some more. You just have to rest for a couple of hours, and the energy at that time allows you, dog. Like your early 20s are for you to just overwork yourself, dog. The energy that you would have spent on other things, that's for you to just channel it on just work.
I love what you're saying. It's talking about early 20s, stories coming in. And I have to say to all you hustlers out there, I think it's got inspired because we get introduced to Amantombazana from Vava. Our early 20s, aqala siyaspana, usifuna scrapenyana sakho, ubumnandi buyaqala amapati nani. A lot of us make the mistakes of focusing too much on emjolweni. There's nothing wrong about it. We have to experience it and have fun and meet people and date. But I'm just saying, a lot of us end up sichola. You end up overdoing it, you end up cheating, you end up having multiple partners, and the amount of energy that goes into you lying to different people so you can manage them so much, that's the amount of energy you could be investing in exactly
and
what he's doing.
I pay smoother. Like I pay like it grows. One lady said something to me, I think around 23 in my okay, cool. We'll get to that one, but in my CNN fame, that's when I started with the girls.
What is the CNN fame?
CNN fame was when I broke out, dog. That's when I was featured on CNN. So I think we said to some say pause of CNN fame, and
okay.
So I've just dropped out. I'm now like going around trying to find what I'm gonna do. I landed my first gig in like close to a Stony Ginger Beer.
Okay.
On TV. Yeah, it was an ad. I was lead. I got something like 100K. I'm now a 20-year-old. I take this money home. My mom is like, she said one thing that I don't know, like, I'm like, she made me so happy. It was a gift to me, that money. I took that money home, and my mom was like, like, you didn't grow up with branded clothes. My phones were hand-me-down phones and stuff. Like, Lenyugu is for you. We don't want your money. Go enjoy it. Go establish yourself, you know, which I don't want to call it black text, but that burden was taken off me very early. And I understand in a way why other people can't pursue their dreams, because dog, at the end of the day, you're gonna have to take that job that you don't want and feed home. But that burden was taken off very early to say, do you you'll see us, whether 10 years from now, whatever, but you'll see us when you find, you know? So that burden was taken off.
Usually a 20-year-old is gonna go take that money, go buy a new car, is gonna go buy brand new expensive designer sneakers.
I did exactly that.
That's what I'm saying. That's what we all do.
I did. Sbuda, I blew my money on nothing. I can't tell you what I did with that money. I blew it on nothing. But a year later, acting is taking forever. I want money now to go auditions and for rent and stuff. So I wanted to just start selling socks. You know, I never intended to build what we have today, Sbuda, to be honest with you.
So selling other people's socks.
Yeah, I was selling other people's socks, but I never intended to have this sock brand and this business and grow it and stuff. Mina ngizela nje to be on TV, ngifake makeup yami, ngibeke generation, ngithole scripts sami, and that's it.
Ufuna ukuba famous.
Ngifuna ukuba famous. I came here for the fame and fortune, that's it. You know? And then I started this small thing. I bought socks, ngaye Mr. Price. Amasokisi was selling 5 rand a one. I bought 14 of those, went to Fashion Week that day. I took pictures with every celebrity. Like Mbamambisa, shoot his Tom and put it on social media, you know? And I think that's another lesson, you know, for someone who's watching, with you need to redirect your energy, dog. Like the energy you use to bash people, Twitter is so negative, and people don't realize, but that tweet you could have used to help yourself, you understand? And I had immediately 5,000 friends on Facebook, started selling socks for that year. You know, 2013, we sold socks. I'd go to Mr. Price, and then I started going to different shops, buying socks, repackage them and sell them, repackage and sell them. And here's where unmerited favor comes in. Here's where the grace comes in. You understand? After a year of working so hard, I was still I meet Usleboho from the hookup dinner. And he's like, dog, I love your energy, you know, but I knew nothing about building a business, you know, so we're going to help you. We're going to take you to the Sir Richard Branson of entrepreneurship. They'll give you basic business skills.
Is that center still there?
No, it's gone. It's gone. I don't know
what a beautiful center.
Too much, you know. So I was part of the, I think, 4th batch there of entrepreneurs, because they were taking new guys every year. And Slebuho and the guys at the hookup dinner were just molding me, and they introduced me to the world of business. Because to be honest with you, business to an ordinary guy is scary, man, because there's a lot of business terms, and business is reserved for CMPC and stuff. So for an ordinary guy, business is scary, and we don't want to touch it because asazi what it means, you understand? So the hookup dinner took me in, and on the day I was pitching, because I pitched on they have small stages before you get to the main stage of the hookup dinner, which is here in Maboneng.
Yeah. It's actually here upstairs.
It's here upstairs, you know?
Yeah.
So on the day I was pitching, CNN was there to cover the hookup dinner.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And then they heard of this guy. I'm a very charismatic guy, you know? You know, which is umlomo, you know, and it's something that every entrepreneur has to have. You have to have incredible communication skills. It's the only thing you have at the end of the day, you know. They heard my story. They're like, wanna cover that guy. And they gave me a call. At the time, I was still selling my socks. Main change. Urban Gentlemen.
And at that time, next to Big Shy, we come in.
Yeah.
Goliath.
Yeah.
Goliath. And this is where they started.
This is where they started, you know. And where we're sitting right now was the cinema.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So they gave me a call. They covered my story. They kept quiet for a while. And at the time, we were at every party, dog. Like, we wanted TV with all of our hearts, smoother. Every party. But not only for that, but we are in Joburg, we're young, we don't have money, we don't have anything to do. So it really kept us busy. There was free booze and there was free food. So we went to every party. And we did every fashion week you can imagine. After party SA Fashion Week, we're in Taboo. Me and my friend Tepo, we getting hammered, dog. We getting hammered. It's 12:30 now. Free alcohol is flowing. My Nigerian friend, SK, calls me. It's like, yo, Sbu, you gonna be big. You gonna be big. I'm like, of course. Who doesn't know I'm gonna be big? You know, it's like, no, I'm seeing right now and saying that you gonna be big. Yo, so we're like, that moment, it was an elevation moment instantly. I really felt and saw myself becoming, you know. The following morning, I was sitting with probably less than 10 investors. That's the power of PR. That's the power of television. And that's the power of the platform that I was launched in, dog. Like I was launched on CNN with here's Skinny Sbu. And I sat down with a number of investors, and a certain gentleman by the name of Nick invested in the business, invested something like $1 million. After a year of just trading, and then boom, puts in that money, and then that's when we started formalizing things. You know, we had the logo we're seeing now for almost 6 months. I must say we've got the most nicest logo ever. You know, we spend so much time. I'm an artistic guy, but I also study brands. And Sibusiso Pasha, who's a visual specialist from Vets, he did our logo. It took him more than 2 weeks to design this logo because I was busy telling him, good dog, like, I want you to do something for me that even a 3-year-old can draw. But I want you to do something that's timeless, that we can print in black and white and multiple colors. I want you to do something for me that we can put in anything. And he came with multiple logos. And by the way, he was doing this for free, you know. And that's where the power of having great communication skills and knowing how to build relationships with people and being vulnerable with people and being open and honest with people. Like, I knew, good dog, but right now I need for you to please make me a logo. You know, and it just believed in me. And we created this logo. It elevated our brand. But before that $1 million came in.
And by the way, yes, that's what I wanted to say. Because guys, he's jumping all over the show with his story. Don't think I must logo. That was before he had the $1 million.
That was before. That was before the $1 million, you know. I met Tumisho Masha. You know, it was another turning point. Because remember, Uslebu introduced me to the world of business. Now Tumisho Masha introduces me to the world of media. At the time, he's brand ambassador for premium brands. He's with Top Billing. He's really killing it, you know? And he's like, Sbu, listen, I want to be your brand ambassador. He gave me that call. Like, I couldn't believe it. So I'm like, you want to be my brand ambassador? And those are tricks of marketing, you know? You take a product, you put it on someone who's premium, on someone who's SAPC3 and talks this language, the product instantly changes. It's no longer viewed as this 25-rand sock or eating a Mr. Price and stuff. It's being endorsed by this massive. I'm not 20 million.
Hold on, before you come. I'm a
Mr. Price. That's it.
You know what's funny, guys? Is I can relate to the story because when we're starting Mofai, it was the same thing. But it's a story for another day. When it started, we came in and but what can you do? What can you do? As entrepreneurs, guys, you gotta start with where you are, with the little that you got. You know what I mean?
Whatever you have,
yeah.
Whatever you have, like people want a lot of money, and then unkulunkulu uzogmitha lapho njayam. You know, and my grandmother always said, I'm sorry, I'm gonna bring up my grandmother a lot because
apologize. Yeah.
My grandmother ari tsurutlela force ungena like tsurutlela ngena bobone uli musikwane, you know, and that's what we did with the brand for a whole year. I was sourcing socks for the entire 2013. I was going to buy. Okay, by the way, in fashion they call it sourcing. You know, you don't steal, you go buy and repackage. So I was sourcing socks all over, repackage them and sell them. Tumisho becomes ambassador. And it elevates the brand, and then people are now starting to talk. But the real moment came that day. CNN happened. Nick invests $1 million in my business. He asked me 2 critical questions that he just wanted to know because I was 22, about to 23. He's like, do you do drugs? I'm like, no, I don't do drugs. Like, do you drink alcohol? I'm like, yeah. It's like, okay, cool. I'll give you part of this $1 million and see how you're gonna behave. He ufaga 350 in my account, and I flew first class to Cape Town. I was spending probably 7,000 rand a night for sleeping in Cape Town. But I was there to research for a factory, because I had given Ulatuma a call to ask where does he make his socks.
Latuma
Xhosa.
Oh, Latuma had already started with his socks.
Already, Ulatuma, yeah, but he was still niche,
Okay.
he was known by fashionistas and people who are interested in the arty space and stuff, So I gave him a call, and I'd been following him for a very long time. Gave him a call, I found his numbers on his website. Gave him a call, I'm like, hey, I'm this young kid, I want to do socks. Where do you make your socks? He just gave me his suppliers, his manufacturers' details.
Big up to Latuma. Not a lot of people do that. Some people are secretive with information.
Yeah, dog.
Big
When
up
are you
to
gonna
the
do
brother,
this?
bro. Big up.
Yeah,
Let's go.
And even today, I'm forever grateful to everybody. Hence, I'm mentioning everybody. I'm grateful to these individuals, dog. Latuma gave me, he contacted a factory, okay, and then I started producing with the factory that I'm still with right now in Cape Town. The reason why I'm with those people, Sbuda, is I've had so many chances to go to China, but I remember going to that factory, and they employed 300 people. It's a massive factory. They supply the Foschini Group, Woolworths, Puma, and other brands. And the women, they said they love making my socks because they're the most interesting designs, so it keeps them happy and young and stuff. But also at the same time, Labantu, they walk to work. So it's a factory, and opposite, it's a squatter camp. So I saw the real impact of my hustle in Joburg. With Mangtata E250K and give it to these guys. I'm actually feeding 300 families, So I saw the real impact, and I chilled with these guys. It's been 7 years right now. We've been growing together, And then I started producing with Cape Moore at the time, and then the real problem started, because now you have someone's million, you have so much stock, you have a name. Like the downside of being a noisemaker like myself is that you're able to create a demand, and you need to be able to put systems in place to meet that demand. But that's something I didn't know as a kid. I was just happy with everybody's talking about my socks. So immediately after that, we started a relationship with Starterfords. I met a certain gentleman. At the time, I was known as King of Bram. I was running the streets of Bram. It was a great time. I met a guy who Shane. He was a buyer at Starterfords, and he was interested in my stuff. He's like, okay, bring it through, we'll take it in. And for me, Starterfords was important, Sbuda, because I grew up with my mom and grand window shopping at Starterfords. We couldn't even go in because it was such a grand store. Like, we as Tiba now, which, like, I don't deserve to go in there. You understand? I grew up window shopping at Starterfords, and now I have a chance of being side by side my childhood heroes, Tommy Hilfiger, Tom Ford, Ralph Lauren, Banana Republic. I took that opportunity, and I think it was the first big contract I had, but it was also the first terrible contract I've ever signed. Terrible. It was consignment. It meant that I deliver stock to them. They're only gonna pay me after selling the product, and whatever product they didn't sell, I'm gonna have to take it back. I'm in charge of transporting that. I'm in charge of in-store promotions. Like, it was such a terrible product. I just wanted to do it, and I did it. I got a lot of learning curves, and I was at them for 12 months. But I was at Starterfords on the same year they were going down as well. So at the end of 2015, Starterfords closed down, and I got my first learnings of retail, my first learnings of distribution, because remember at the time, before that, being Nontlantla, like Even Gentlemen and Fashion Kral and other small boutiques in Joburg, but I was first time with a big establishment. And then I got approached by Superbalist, because now the brand was making a lot of noise, and that's the power of publicity. That's the power of putting yourself out there. just put yourself out there. Someone is gonna like your stuff, and someone is gonna jump on your stuff. Superbalist gave me a call. We started penetrating the online world, but also at the same time, Nati, I think in 2015, when people were sleeping on online stores, I invested like 250K in just establishing an online store, and I saw the returns. It blew the company Gakulu, because now we're speaking to the corporate guy. Spanish Standard Bank is always on his desktop, and that's the guy we were talking to at the time. And then our deal with Superbalist went on, but I was still not happy because I felt like we can blow up the numbers, man. And then our relationship, we cut out. We actually went on a break with them, with Superbalist, and then you spoke right now, Wuti. I've been building a personal brand and an actual brand, which is the sock brand and the clothes and the store and everything. And that's been the intent since the first day I started Skinny Sbu Socks. I started Skinny Sbu Socks because I wanted to build this grand material that you can take home that's an extension of the person. Skinny Sbu Socks, Skinny Sbu store is me, and it's evolving with me as I grow. Abantu bebang Luisa, when I did my campaigns myself, I did the arts direction, I was the model in them and stuff, but about Luisi Ralph Lauren for 35 years for being his own model, about Luisi Tom Ford for being his own model for 20 years and things like that, So I wanted to establish this great talk brand to push myself, because I also knew that I was studying individuals like yourself, Bonang, Oprah, who Oprah has been selling airtime for years. And I knew that once I can create a big enough name, I'll be able to poly that name into an empire and make money from it. If where I'm sitting right now, this thing can go either way. This thing is a TV show, it's a reality show, it's a series, it's whatever it is, because I've built not only a great quality brand, but I've built a credible name as an individual, as a speaker, as an entrepreneur. So that was the intent from the first place. And then I took a break between Starterfords and Markham. That's when I was establishing myself as a speaker. And that was between 2016 and 17 for 2 years. I was gigging like crazy. I was gigging like a DJ. I did the biggest stages. I think I crossed in the most money in anybody who was speaking at the time, because my biggest strength and ability is to go into something and focus on it and be big in it. And that's what I did, But my sock brand was slowly going down. It was slowly going down at the time.
It's interesting because, when you say that, I've listened to Kanye West's interview on The Breakfast Club. That was before his famous Sway interview. When he talks about it, and I've experienced it as well, the minute I started focusing on business, my creative career sort of goes down. Because anything that you're not giving attention to is about to is bound to struggle. And I can relate.
Yeah, definitely. Like everything needs a bit of TLC. Like outside the money and the other fields that we do, like a relationship, anything you do needs a bit of TLC, because you have the end goal of more fire. So every once in a while, you need to come in the operation called more fire and remind people that's where we're going. We're not going to take this decision. We're not going to do this. So for something like 2 years, I left my business with a group of people that I trusted. And I think they did an incredible job. It's just that this thing also needed me to just check on it every once in a while, And then Markham came in as a saving grace, because one, with Markham, we were still able to maintain our premium positioning as a brand. We are building a premium brand. We are a premium brand. So Markham allows us to do that, but also Markham has density. Markham has 350 stores throughout the continent. That's the other reason why we took them. So my lessons from Starterfords, my lesson from Superbalist, I wanted more reach.
You wanted more reach, which is why now you are growing your brand from socks into other things. I popped into your store here just a few days ago for the first time because I've just been seeing it on your social media. I did say that. And I popped in. I was expecting to see a whole range of so many socks.
Yeah.
And then when I got in here, I started seeing shirts, I started seeing t-shirts, sweaters, I started seeing watches, cups.
Yeah.
Tell me about your growth and what's going on with the Skinny Sbu brand.
So as I told you, with the Skinny Sbu Socks, Skinny Sbu brand is me. So I'm evolving. One day I'm this guy who's wearing shorts and showing off my socks and a t-shirt. But namhlanje, I'm going for a business engagement. I need to look the part. I have a sense of occasion as well, you understand? So today I need to look like this. So I have designed an environment that speaks to a gentleman who is now growing. Because remember, we started out with this guy when he was, I'm sorry for that. We started out with this guy when he was 23 years old. He was in varsity and he started making money. Right now, he probably lives in Midrand, drives a nice Beamer, and has a small family and a house. We now have created an environment where he can just come in one space and shop for his partner and shop for his kid. We've got some decorative pieces for the home. We've got alarm clocks, we've got table liners and tablecloths, we've got bags, we've got clothes for men and things like that. So the brand Skinny Sbu is now becoming a young adult, you know, so it's evolving and that's where we're going. But also at the same time, behind it, this is our testing station. The reason why I put it in Maboneng is because of the many reasons that I gave you. This is where I met the hookup dinner. This is where CNN happened. So this is where the business basically started. So I'm basically bringing back Skinny Sbu to its roots. But also, Maboneng is one of the most dopest hotspots in Johannesburg right now. We're literally in the center of the city of gold. It's one of the most safest precincts ever. When I came in here, I asked all the owners, Maboneng has been around for 10 years. There hasn't been a single break-in in 10 years. You understand? So we created a space where we're gonna test our ideas like crazy. And after we've tested them, we mass produce and then go to our distribution partners and sell to the entire country.
That is incredible. Yeah. He's done an incredible job with his life, and he's still very young. I mean, he's not even 30 yet.
I just turned 29 on the 9th of September.
Yeah, congratulations.
Yeah. I've been on Forbes. Let me just break. I've been on Forbes 30 under 30. And that was a great time for me. You know, I think that was when I was being certified, man, to say, you know what, you have a great potential to really grow this thing and employ a lot of people. Yeah.
That is quite incredible. And for me, wrapping it up quickly, I would like for you to look at the camera and just speak to other youngsters that are watching. These are our young hustlers. All the hustlers out there. Others are even doing better than you, probably. Others are more educated than we are. But we're all just a community of Black Africans that are all over the world. Some of them are not in South Africa. But we are all like-minded because we want to see each other grow. We're sick and tired of supporting just European brands. We're starting our own things. We're doing our own thing. We're keeping the money revolving around our community. You know how we all support each other. You support me. I support you. I support Danki-san.
Yeah.
I support Drip. I support Batu. I'm just keeping it local, right? And that's our community. And those are also future entrepreneurs. We've got young guys that are watching there as well. And I'd like for you to just wrap it up by speaking to them. What would you like to say to them?
I want to say to every young person that wakes up every morning and go and do whatever we call hustle, don't give up. There's nothing wrong with you. There's nothing wrong you doing. Don't be fooled by media. There's nothing wrong with the continent. There's nothing wrong with working with our other brothers and sisters. There's nothing wrong with South Africa. The goal is world domination. I personally don't want a brand that's only gonna appeal to Black kids. I want a brand that's gonna enter China and the rest of the world. I want a brand that's gonna dominate the US. The idea is world domination, guys. Let's keep the focus. The energy you have in your youth, unfortunately, it doesn't last long. And my grandmother used to say, and that's true. My 10 years of being in Joburg, this is my 10th year and it's coming to an end and it went by fast. Whatever energy you have, the data you have and the phone you have, use it for good because time is running out.
I like that. And now I just want you to speak to your 40-old you. Not even 40, let me say 50, because I'll send you this in about 20, how many years is it from today? How many years is it from today? He's 28 now. He'll be 48. Let me see. He'll be 38 and then he'll be 48. Let's say 48.
Yeah.
You just before 50, because now you're just before 30.
Yeah.
We'll send you this in about 20 years.
Wow.
We got my nigga that time.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll be 48 in what? In 8 years, I'll be 48 years old.
Okay.
When you are there,
Yeah.
when you are watching this is 20 years from now.
Okay.
What would you like to say to yourself there? Because I'm sure you'll be gray there, you won't be purple.
Yeah. Yo, Sbu, my man. First of all, I just want to say I'm proud of you. Okay? Don't listen. Thank you for not listening to the noise. You are now with the world's best distributors globally. You are sitting in your own ranch with your family. You are good. You've been good to your mom. You've been good to the rest of your family and your new family that you've built yourself. You've built an incredible business. Thank you very much for persevering and not listening to the naysayers who've never done basically anything with their lives and never even failed, and ever even done half the things you've done and continue to doing. You're about to be a president right now. Lead your people with love. Lead your people to the light. Don't mislead your people. At the end of the day, this is beyond money. This is just about making sure that we live in a better place. Nyakuncanywa, baba wabantwana bayi-12. Let's make this money, man.
Namyatnanya, boy, proud of you. Yeah?
Thanks, Buddha.
Thank you
very much.
Sbu,
that was therapeutic. Eh?
Sure.
Oh.
Beautiful, man. We'll send you the video.
Oh.
Sure. Guys, a lot of young people in Africa are sick and tired of being sick and tired. We're sick and tired of glorifying European brands that people just look at, because we've just been bombarded all those brands all our lives. And we're like, you Ralph Lauren, Sban. That's not a take on any brand. Just making an example with Ralph Lauren. But you want to understand that you actually can even do better. And that's exactly what he's doing. That's exactly what Theo Patu is doing. That's exactly what Likau is doing with Drip. It's exactly what Latuma is doing with Max Closer. It's exactly what a lot of us are doing. We hope that you guys are getting inspired to even take it further than what we are doing. Wish you guys all the best. Young people are doing great things with their lives. The question is, what are you doing with yours? Thank you, sir.
Thanks, Buddha.